Hi, my name is Jessica, and I'm angry. The reason I'm angry is that recently I've been going to a training where I'm learning a type of therapy that seems very useful, specifically for dealing with couples. I'm not going to say the specific therapy because I don't want to throw anyone under the bus because I have concerns. Here's the issue. I am queer. I know, it's very hard to understand. I myself am not a biological woman. I am a trans woman, and I understand that's a really big shock. This is a very vulnerable moment. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because I, as far as I know, was the only queer person there, or at least the only trans person. And throughout, why didn't it trigger? That's really sad. Oh, there it is. Sweet. Thank you, Lizzie. You're fucking great. Got yourself a cool gay dinosaur. Godzilla. I know he's not a dinosaur. Don't yell at me, Elizabeth. Don't at me. Anyway, so the reason I'm upset is this. Being the only trans person there, the issue that I saw in this conversation was pretty apparent early on. Almost every discussion, in every fucking example, in every attempt to discuss this in any kind of meaningful way, resulted in talking about marriage in the heterosexual sense, male and female couples, husbands and wife dynamics, and given only a token reference to queer people. In the slides that came with it, they make a reference to, all people, blah, 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 the typical stuff. And that's great. However, and this is where my anger arises. There's a lot of things that queer people deal with that cis-het people don't understand. And whenever you're dealing with relationship issues, this is a factor. Give you some examples. Example 1. You are in a lesbian relationship and you come from a particular branch of the LGBT that believes that lesbians should have never touched a man, and to do so is somehow dirty. That's never said explicitly, but that's sort of the belief. And you find out during an intimate night that your partner mentions that she's been with a man before, and you react poorly. Really poorly. How do you deal with that as a therapist? How do you work with that if you don't fucking understand queer experiences? Example 2. You're a trans woman, pre-op or non-op, and you're in a relationship with a guy and it's going really well. He's really sweet. He gets you flowers. He's really awesome. He seems really attentive in bed. And yeah, one day you're using his laptop and you see a folder marked with a T, and you click on it, and it's several gigs of trans girl porn. It turns out the guy you're dating is a chaser. He's been keeping it from you, but it now changes the entire context of the relationship. It explains why every time you brought up SRS, or gender-affirming surgery, that he would get a little weird. And come to find out, the reason is because the part he fetishizes would be gone. How do you deal with that as a therapist? Better yet, how do you deal with that as a therapist who has no fucking clue about queer identities? You don't. You don't. And you are being professionally reckless. The reason I'm saying all this is that these are things I had to point out during this whatever the fuck training. And the reason why I want to make it very clear is that I'm really upset for this. I hold clinicians to a high standard. I hold myself to a high standard. I push myself to work as hard as I can and to challenge my clients because I want them to do well in the world. I want them to be safe. I want them to self-advocate. I want them to feel strong. And I want them to know I'm 100% behind them. Always. My concern is that when clinicians decide randomly to not pursue or look into a particular group of people, that are directly impacting and affecting their experience, this becomes an issue. If this had been people working in Minnesota, and the population of Latinx folks is very, very small, and they weren't very clear on like Latinx ethnic background in the area and stuff like that, I can understand that, because to some degree, if the demographic is small enough in that area, you could understand not having that understanding. But when you start with the premise that you're talking about relationships and you're using an attachment model and using one in which you're pointing out the way these triggers work, a model, by the way, that I still think is good, but you don't really understand how it would work with queer people, can I really believe that that model works? Can I really take that model into my sessions with my clients who are primarily fucking queer? What the fuck? This culminated in one of the clinicians there discussing what we thought of a session in which we watched a couple go through this work. It was really good. I felt nothing. I feel bad. I was exhausted, and on top of it, it just felt performative. I come from a I come from genderland. I come from a Gestalt background, and in Gestalt therapy, as I was taught, Latin? Am I saying that right, Elizabeth? Tell me if I'm saying that one right. Get back to me in a second. Latin. I thought latrine, but I know that's not what that is. Anyway. So this culminated in this person who's an older gentleman who essentially wanted to know my feedback. And I told him I wasn't very effective. It felt very scripted. It felt very much like it had an agenda. And these are all things that I learned in my training to not really go along with. These were things that you go into the session open with no agenda, no plan, because that is the way you, through novelty and through trusting the process, things unfold. Sometimes you get boring sessions out of that. Sometimes you get really fucking great sessions out of that. But the reality of the situation is you still get something. Awesome. Thank you, Elizabeth. You are a darling. So, what is my point with this? So, they asked what I thought, and I said, what it reminds me of is the difference between cis people that get it and cis people that are being performative. The example I gave was that there are individuals that I interact with who are cisgender, such as my therapist, my voice therapist, and my doctor, who interact with me as a woman. To them, I am a woman. Full stop. But there is other people who are cisgendered who are trying to be polite, trying to be caring, trying to be supportive. They use my pronouns. They call me Jessica. They treat me appropriately. And I can't tell if they actually believe I'm a woman. I'm not saying this makes them bad people. I'm not saying this is a problem. What it means is that these people are sort of doing something performative. And I would obviously prefer performative wokeness than just transphobia, but that is a thing. There's a difference. It's actually feelable. The excitement I have when I talk to my voice therapist, who's super fun, and I keep sharing weird shit with her, like SCPs and all that crazy shit, like, I enjoy the fuck out of that. But talking about this difference brought up a question from one of the people there. One of the people there, from what I could tell, has been practicing for over a decade. What is cisgender? I'm going to let that hang for a second. What is cisgender? In a room with people who have been trained to work with the public and specifically who are working with couples, by the way, involving things like sexuality and gender, didn't know a basic fucking term of cisgender. This is what I said on Twitter during it. I'm showing you this because I am really glad I did this. Okay, I know everyone has different focuses, and I know that clinicians are more familiar with certain topics. I need to breathe. Why the fuck do I need to explain basic terminology to decades practicing therapists? Cis fucking gender is basic affirming language. Angry cat noises. I understand ignorance. I understand that people don't always get things. That's fine. But when you are a clinician working in mental health, you have to do better. So I'm not going to stray on this too long, but I want to make it very clear. If you say you're going to work with couples, you need to have some, just some, fucking understanding of queer culture. Queer understanding, queer people. It's not like these trainings don't exist. I did one last year. I'm not even asking for esoteric shit like allogender or allosexual, excuse me. Allogender wouldn't make sense. Allosexual or like fucking like gender fuck or gender queer. Like I'm not even asking for like that level of understanding. That stuff's adaptable. If you know basics, you can work your way there. Now I want to know what allogender is. I'm going to think about that one. Here's my problem. This is basic terminology. And my response to this person was, you're cisgender. And he kind of like sputtered. Like these are terms from like ancient, like, and are they from Latin? Like, are they like we can look it up, but these words like have a, they're based in reality. We've done them forever. Angry cat noises. So I wanted to bring this to your guys' attention because this is a frustration I have. And I'm going to keep this short. Look for better therapists. If you're looking for a therapist to work with you on gender and to work with you in a position where you, by definition, are able to learn how to be able to be yourself and be able to work on yourself, and you are dealing with queer issues, you guys need to be consumers, as I've said before. I'm always going to advocate for this. Be consumers. Check with people. Call them. Are you trained to work with people in the LGBT? Do you understand trans issues? Fuck. Hit them with some fun stuff. Do you know what a chaser is? Do you know what standard medications a trans woman is put on? What are the effects of HRT? Mara Nara said, when therapists list LGBTQ on their profile, it's always a crapshoot on whether it means trained in or just supportive, as in believes you exist. Yeah, like fucking Oreo. I don't know if you guys saw that. I'll bring that up real quick because might as well fucking crapshoot anyway. I don't know if this is the one. I don't think this is the one that said it. I think it was just Oreo. Right? Nick fucking calling it the way it is. Maybe it was this one. I don't know if people saw this. It was pretty funny. But there was a whole thing on Oreo or Oreo's, a different Oreo one, where they literally talked about like, oh, here it is. Oreo cookie, trans people exist. Well, thank you. So, Elizabeth, the best way to do that is this. Look in your area. Go on Psych Today. Oh, it is the top tweet. Did I just skip over it like an idiot? Okay. Hold on. Oh, it is. I just skipped over it because I figured it'd be like back there. But yeah, it is. It's right there. I really appreciate them reifying. We know that we objectively exist. Thank you, Oreo. It's very meaningful. So what I'd say is this. If you're looking for an LGBT therapist, call them, question, ask things. It's not hard. Do not be intimidated by these people. They are working for you. Right, Nick? Fuck yeah, do it. Like, no. If someone is not... Oh, you're highly restricted because of insurance? Fair. So go and work with them with the things that they can do. Try to find other ways to deal with... Otherwise to deal with the other stuff, or see if there's ways to adapt to that. Because I'm very hesitant to tell you to just work with somebody who's not getting it. I feel like that's hard, but I understand the insurance thing. You could look for cash clinics and see if there's somebody who wants to do that, but that's up to you. There are some ways you can deal with that. Anyway, my point with all this is really simple. I'm pretty fucking angry by this, and not because of Oreo. I'm mad at this because angry cat noises. I don't really like it when I have to explain basic terminology to fucking clinicians. Yeah, just get a fucking pit bull. Seriously. Pit bull? Best dog ever. I will fight people on this. Little velvet hippo. By the way, you want to go see cute dogs? r/velvet hippos. Eye bleach for this terrible world. But my point is with all this is, really quick, please be a consumer. I'm going to talk about this again and again and again. This shit is important. If you're a clinician out there, fucking learn your terminologies. Like, understand the communities you're working with. Do not fucking tell me you're a couples therapist and you don't know shit about trans people. You don't know shit about queer people. This shit matters. Yeah, buddy. So is Zena. Damn. But Zena's not a girl. Zena's non-binary. But you two get along. Zena likes the bunnies. You made your psychologist retire? I mean, I think that's a gold star depending on this Cub Scouts, so that's pretty cool. Anyway, I'm going to leave that there. We'll talk more about it in a future stream, but I just wanted to make it clear. I'm going to finish out this training. I'm going to see how it goes. You guys will hear about it. But yeah, if you're a clinician, learn basic queer stuff. This is there. It's a fucking thing. If you're someone who's a consumer looking for a new therapist, maybe we'll sit down as a next stream and we'll go through and figure out how do you find a good therapist? How do you ask questions? Talk to people in the queer community. We are worth it. Do not pick shitty therapists. Okay? All right, love you guys.